Do you want to know how to use LinkedIn to promote your business? With over 800 million people on LinkedIn, we imagine that it's a crowded place where you will not get any business. This is not true. And our guest today has used LinkedIn to not only grow his business, but he's teaching others to do the same with his 15 minutes a day LinkedIn daily habit workshop. Welcome to Ashley Leeds, the 15-minute guy. How are you, Ashley?
Hi, Dawn. It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? But yeah, I'm absolutely, I'm buzzing at the moment. Thanks very much indeed. Yeah, all good here, all good.
It's brilliant to meet you. Now, Ashley and we met, actually, I was on his LinkedIn Live as a guest of somebody that works with me as a VA for me. And so that's how I met you on your sort of one of your 15-minute interviews with somebody, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, it's all 15 minutes with me, Dawn, as you know. But yeah, and here we are, reversing the tables, and it's now my turn to be grilled. So yeah, thanks for having me on. But that was a good show. That was. I enjoyed that.
It was a brilliant show, and has inspired me to do some more LinkedIn lives. I've only done them. I think I've done about 5, and I was really, really nervous, but I suppose it gets easier with time. One of the things I love about you, Ashley, is your very engaging style, and I wouldn't call it a podcast, but you do a show, don't you? A LinkedIn live show with your guests, and you started with a song.
Absolutely. And so I've always liked performing. I've done theatre. I started when I was at school. I was in the church choir, then the school choir. So I've always performed. But more recently, I've started doing videos and now my LinkedIn Live. So I do a LinkedIn Live show every Tuesday at 12:30, and it starts off with a song. As you can see, my guitar's on the back wall there. I think music is a great leveler, and so all of my guests choose a song from my list, and I play that song for them to start the show off. And my first question is always, why did you choose that song? And I think we've all got amazing songs that we remember that evoke all kinds of amazing memories for us. So that's why I just love music.
Yeah, well, I love music, and hopefully I'm going to be on your show and thinking the autumn, and I'm trying to think of a song, but there's so many, aren't there? But I'm really looking forward to it. But your journey to where you are as Ashley Leeds, the LinkedIn 15-minute guy, and tell me about that, because you didn't just start doing that recently, did you? And I think there's been a bit of a journey there. Tell us about that.
It's a huge journey. How far do you want me to go back, Dawn?
As far back as you want to, my friend.
Okay, let's go back to when I was a kid. I didn't know what I wanted to do when I left school, except I did want to be a Radio 1 DJ. Okay, this was absolutely. This was when Dave Lee Travis was doing the radio shows. Yeah, absolutely. The hairy cornflake. And I wanted to be the hairy cornflake. And I went to my careers teacher. They said, no, you've got to get a proper job. There was no route to radio back then, because it had never been done. Nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew, and today, you say your son's going for an interview today. There's so many opportunities out there for everybody, and not just our younger people. And so I grasp every opportunity that comes its way. So I was a chef. I went up to London. I worked in London. I worked in France, and then I came down to Sidmouth, and I met my wife 36 years ago here in a hotel in Sidmouth, which is where I live now. We moved away. We worked in a couple of jobs, and my wife wanted to be a stay-at-home mum. And that meant that I had to then go and do something else, because we were getting paid a paltry salary as we ran a hotel between us, and it was paltry salary. So I went and got myself a job and actually earned the equivalent of what we were both earning in just one job, working in sales. So I worked in sales, and I've been working in the sales environment now for 30 years. I've sold all kinds of things during that career: mortgages, financial products, telephones, photocopiers. And latterly, I started working in the accountancy space, selling software to accountants. That then turned into advice. And then that turned into me working for a company where I was actually coaching accountants. And I'm working with accountants to actually help them become better sellers, to help them become more confident, to help them get where they want to be in their business. That it might be a bit of LinkedIn training or stuff like that. And so I was coaching them. And at the beginning of last year, I raised a little bit of money for a charity, and all of that gave me the confidence to just think I can do what I want now. And so I did, and I set up my own business. I set up Full Cup Coaching, and I wanted to start coaching accountants again, as I was doing in my previous job. However, there was a little thing called an anti-compete clause in my contract, so I wasn't able to do that immediately. So I thought, well, what else can I do? And because I'd been helping some of our members with LinkedIn, I thought, well, I could develop that further. And here I am 12 months down the line, absolutely loving what I do. I teach all these amazing people how to use LinkedIn. When they finish their workshop, literally just finished the workshop on Friday, and I had one of the students on this morning, and I offer a free one-to-one at the end. And to see this guy go from nothing on LinkedIn to having an amazing profile, 38% more connections in just 1 week, and he's buzzing as well. And so he knows he's going to get business from LinkedIn. So that's my journey, and I just absolutely love it. And every day I do literally bounce out of bed and run down here and get stuck in.
Well, that's amazing. And first of all, love the title of your business, Full Cup. Instead of half cup, you're a full cup.
Absolutely.
Is that the reason you called it that?
Right. So this is the thing, right? So as we've already discussed, I'm a musician. I wrote a song 5, 6, 7 years ago now. And it's all about being positive. And the chorus is goes, you get out what you put in. You're never going to lose. You're never going to win. As long as you're happy, you're always going to grin. You get out what you put in. And it's that philosophy that's how I live my life. And so every verse is all positivity around my life and what I do and how I do things. And so it's a self-penned song. Everybody that knows me just laughs when they hear it because it's just so me. But people who don't know me love the song because it's so energetic. But I called the song Full Cup. And so when I was thinking of, because it was one of the lines is, my glass is always half full. And there it is there. And so you can't call the song half full or whatever, because it's got no meaning. So I called the song Full Cup. And so when I was trying to think of a name for my business, I thought, oh my goodness, that's brilliant. And it transpires now that I've got a tagline for my business, as in you get out what you put in. And I've got a theme tune and a jingle for my live shows.
Wow.
Who'd have known?
Who would have thought it? That is amazing. And I just want to say that I have been on Ashley's courses and, experienced it. And he is positive. So positive, and he's always got a good idea. You are what I call good vibes. You're a good vibes person. So, and you can't help but sort of be caught up in that energy. That before we were talking before, and I was saying, I have a group of people. We've talked about social media and how to use that to promote our business. And there's something, and I don't know if it's a generational thing, because I know that young people, like we've both got grown-up children, they're more au fait with social media and how to use it to its advantage. But some people, I love social media, but I've got it's no rhyme nor reason to it. I'm getting better now. But some people are really scared of it. They're really sort of like thinking, what am I going to say? What am I going to, how do they use it? And you help people to do that. So why should we use LinkedIn? Because I've liked Facebook. I'm doing a sort of like 365 challenge on Twitter, which I love for different reasons. But LinkedIn has been the place that's been very successful for my business. But why would you say that people should be sort of getting on the LinkedIn train?
Right, I think we need to take a couple of steps back. Do you know, if you ask somebody in the street, what are you most scared of? Okay, it's not dying. It's not snakes, spiders, or dogs.
Yes.
It's public speaking.
True.
All right. That's if you do some searches on Google, that is what you'll find most people are scared of. Most people are scared of public speaking. Putting stuff out on social media is akin to public speaking. Okay. And I think that is the root of it all. And it's just getting over ourselves. I was invited to go and do a public speaking November 21 because they'd seen what I'd been doing online, and they said, oh, we're going to start this, you'd be brilliant. Didn't know what I was going to go and talk about, but I went down there, and obviously I was nervous because I'd never done a public speaking before. I've done loads of gigs, I've done loads of live shows, so I should have been all right, and I was. But I went down there and I came off after I'd finished, and you're watching everybody in the audience, and they are hanging on every word. It is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. So I've been singing forever, and you know you can see people dancing, you can see people having a good time, they sing along. But when you're just speaking and people are taking it all in, and I practiced the speech in front of my wife, but she'd heard it a few times, she knows the story. When you're in front of a live audience, they're oohing and ahhing and gasping and laughing with you. It is just amazing. And that is the sort of thing that we need to be getting over ourselves when we go on LinkedIn or social media and start posting. Because there's people out there who's going to see your post and go, wow, that's amazing, or I resonate with that. And there's other people that are just going to scroll on by, and there's other people who are going to go, what on earth is Ashley talking about today? Okay. And it doesn't matter, because you're never going to meet any of these people.
True. I agree with you. And I do think posting on social media is akin to public speaking, not and because you can use what you post on in social media with your public speaking, because I do that too. And I think that's one of the things you recommend as well. But do you think that people are not embarrassed is the wrong word. It's like they're worried about what people will think of them. I think I get what you're saying about it's like public speaking, but it's also about people maybe not having the confidence in themselves and also worrying what people may think of them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's probably what makes me different, because I'm not so worried what people think of me. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you wouldn't get me up on stage singing and dancing. But we all try to please all the people all the time. And I think when I realized, and that was a long time ago, that you can't please all the people all the time. So just please some of the people some of the time. But as long as you please them, then that's fine. And it's how you make people feel. So as long as your posts and the content that you're creating makes people feel good, then it shouldn't be too difficult. And if they don't like it, then what I do is I monitor what I do. So I'll get X number of impressions, I'll get X number of likes and what have you.
Yeah.
And so, oh, I know that works, so I'll do more of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that if I start my post with a question, I'll get more likes and comments than I would if I just told you. You know, and it's just trying different things out. I know that my text posts outperform my photo posts. But I do know if I've got somebody that's well known in my network and I take a photo of them with me as a selfie, that does really, really well. But because I'm doing it all the time and I'm monitoring it, then I know what I'm doing. But if you've never posted before, whatever you post is going to be your best post ever.
Absolutely. So how do people get started?
Like everything else, you know, when we're kids, we're taught to swim, and some parents grab hold of the child and chuck them in at the deep end. Others splash in the shower or the bath and then take them to the learner pool and splash in. We've all got our own way of learning and trying different things. So just give it a go. As you know, on my workshop, I've created a group just for people that have been on the workshop. So that's what I encourage people to do, is actually go in and post in there, because it's only going to a few people and a few people who are all absolutely gorgeous that are all going to say nice things. So it really doesn't matter. Once you've done one, you know that it's not scary. So here's something. I don't normally get nervous, but on Thursday night we did our traditional mummers play in Sidmouth. We've got Folk Week this week, and we do a play, and so it was in the market square, so there was going to be 100 200 people watching, but it's 2 years since I did it because of COVID. So we went down and met everybody, and sort of like, I was a little bit nervous because you don't know what's going to happen, but I knew that it would be all right. So I just went out there and went for it. It was great fun, and just seeing everybody laughing and cheering along is just the most amazing experience. But if you never have a go, you're never gonna know. You're never gonna know. And I think that's the sad thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I like to say, what's the worst that can happen? and it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. And I still think that people, particularly about their businesses, particularly if they're solopreneurs, it can be quite personal what you're posting about, even if it's not what I had for breakfast, or time with my children, or stuff like that. It can be sort of like you're putting yourself out there, and I think that's what people might struggle with. But what I like about what you do is that you have a group of people, so you're all doing it together, and you're sort of like talking to each other and sort of testing things out and testing reactions between each other. And I think that is really, really helpful to be able to do that, because I think that if it's better to do things in a group sometimes, and to also, if you're all in the same boat and you're all starting out, you sort of like, sink or swim together.
It's herd mentality, isn't it? We've all been in places where someone sort of said, "Oh, so any questions?" and nobody puts their hand up. But then as soon as a few people have, then everyone, "Oh, he didn't get castigated for putting his hand up. So I've got a question now," and it's sort of like, "Well, I'll do it if you do it." And it's exactly the same with social media. Just have a go. The worst thing that can happen with your post is it's against the rules of LinkedIn and they ban your account. That's the worst thing that's going to happen.
Have you ever known that to happen?
No, exactly. And so you are not going to go on your very first ever post and be super, super controversial. Your very, very first post should be, "This is my very first post on LinkedIn. So please let me know what you think, and am I doing it right?" Okay. And everybody will go, "Oh, bless. Oh, that's a lovely post. Thank you very much indeed." And be really nice. We're going back to music again. I'm sorry, but I run an open mic. Now, an open mic is like karaoke, but for guitarists and pianists and any other instrument that you can play. And so basically you get up in front of the microphone and you play a few songs in front of an audience. And it can be quite nerve-wracking, because in that room, there's a load of other musicians. And you've just gone up, and this girl before you, her voice is like an angel. And the way she tinkles the piano is incredible. And you're sort of like thinking, there is no way I'm that good. There's no way I'm that good. But everybody in that room wants you to have a go. Everybody in that room wants to hear you sing and play. Okay. So everybody in that room is going to stop what they're doing. They're going to listen to you. And when you finish, they're going to give you a big round of applause. And it doesn't matter how nervous you are. I had one guy the other week. He was shaking so much, I thought he had Parkinson's. He was so nervous. But everybody was there. You could feel the whole room willing him on. And that's exactly what happens with your first LinkedIn post.
And I think that's what you do as well. I think you encourage people in your courses and in your lives to sort of like do things, and so they think it can be done. I think you do a great example, because you do it. You put it out there.
I eat my own dog food, as they say, dog.
So have you got any tips about how people can optimize their profile? Because it's not just about the post, is it? It's about the whole thing. It's about, I think I didn't have a business background, and I think so working for the NHS, I didn't realize, although the NHS is very branded, and there is a logo, and we have sort of the ways that we communicate and what's expected, I didn't realize for your business how brand savvy you had to be as well. So have you got any tips about how to do that, or do you think people should just concentrate on the post and think about that later?
No. We've got to look right. You can see I've got my branded T-shirt on today. This is me. This is me. So I'm showing up as me.
Yeah.
And that is so important. So the first thing that anybody sees of you on your profile is your name, your headline, and your photo. And the reason that's the first thing they see is because if you put a like on someone's post and someone clicks on that little icon to see who did that like, then up will pop those three things. Okay. So first of all, your photo has to be current. Okay. If you've had your hair cut, let's have the new hairstyle. If you're going a little bit gray, come on, let's show the gray.
I've gone gray.
Whatever.
I get up on that. Yeah.
And and if you've got a few more laughter lines than you did with that photo that you put up 7 years ago, let's be true and honest. And so you've got your modern photo. What you next need to do is make sure that it fills the circle. There's a circle on your LinkedIn profile, because what happens is most people will see the picture of you on their mobile device. 70% of people use LinkedIn on their mobile device. Once you've done a comment. So literally your picture is going to be smaller than your little fingernail. Okay. So if you think of that, all right. So basically, if your face can fill your fingernail, then people are going to see you. If it's a picture of you stood outside the Taj Mahal, all they're going to see is a white blur of the Taj Mahal. Okay. So it's your face has to fill the screen. And then the next top tip is put your brand color around the back of you, because then you will pop out on the screen. There's no other background. It's just that brand color. And if you go and have a look at my profile, you'll see that happy yellow color. So that's the first tip. Get your photo. It needs to be correct. Looking at the camera and smiling and showing some teeth. So the next tip is obviously your name. That has to be correct. Okay. If you've got a few qualifications, I suggest only putting one up. Because no one wants to see a big long name with loads and loads of initials and goodness knows what after, because that makes you, for me, it makes me feel intimidated. Why would I connect with this doctor of psychology with all these other bits after their name? And then finally, your headline. And then what happens is if you do nothing with LinkedIn, it's going to put your job title up there. So for me, it would be business coach or LinkedIn trainer. Well, nobody is going to click on a link that says you're a business coach or LinkedIn trainer, because there's far too many of us. So what I've done is I've called myself the 15-minute guy. And on my headline, it says the 15-minute guy, helping you to get more business from LinkedIn. Okay. And so people see that and they go, that's intriguing. Why is this guy the 15-minute guy? And they click on that and then they see me. So those are the 3 top tips on what you need to do to get started.
Brilliant. That's really, really good. And you do a bit more of that in the sessions that you do. You've just finished one, haven't you? A cohort of, are you doing one again soon?
So I do them roughly once every month. But I say roughly. Sometimes it's beginning, sometimes it's middle, sometimes it's the end. I wasn't going to do one in August. But what I'm doing is somebody said, maybe people you're not getting so many people book because they can't commit to every single day. And I thought that's a good idea. And so this lady has said that she's going to book. So I've created a 90-minute session. So instead of 15 minutes every single day, it's going to be 90 minutes in one hit. Okay. And that's going to be on the 19th of August. It's a Friday. And then the next week, you're going to get an email from me every single day explaining what you should be doing today in your habit. So each day you'll get some, you'll be able to look back at the recording, but each day there's some video help and some ideas on what you should be doing each day. And so by the end of the week, it would be as if you've had the workshop, but you can do it at your own pace.
Okay, brilliant. And we'll put the links to that in the show notes, because this will go out before the 19th of August. So that'll be really good if people want to join. I recommend that you do that, because it is very engaging and a lot of help with your LinkedIn profile, if that's something that you want to know help with. And maybe I wouldn't have said I did need that much help, but it's really good refresher of sort of like what to do and the things. So I really, really enjoyed the last cohort, which was last week. So that's brilliant. And you've also you've got do you review people's LinkedIn profiles?
Yeah, so it's very difficult, because when you see a LinkedIn trainer, you think you've got to pay 1,500 quid and goodness knows what else, and I want to keep my work affordable. So any of my workshops, they're just 95 quid, and some of them I actually offer a money back guarantee. But before we do any of that, I give away free help, Dawn. And so basically, if you connect with me and sign up to my Monday nudge, and I call it a Monday nudge because every Monday I'm going to nudge you to create some content. So I give you 5 ideas of what you can be writing about every Monday. And so you get that newsletter every Monday. And if you do that, then I will record a video of me looking at your profile. Okay.
Wow.
And I actually tell you what I see. So the first thing I normally say is, lovely photo, but it needs to be bigger, or you need to be looking at the camera, or you need to be smiling, or I know that you've got gray hair now, or whatever it is.
Yes.
I'm not rude. I'm cheeky. Hopefully it's funny.
Yeah.
And then I just go through go through your profile, and I point out little bits that you can do. And so some people do that and go away and do it on their own, and it hasn't cost them anything, and they haven't had to sit and talk to me or anything like that. And I don't sell to them. And then they get their Monday nudge every week. In there, I tell them about some of the courses if they're coming up. If not, they can unsubscribe. But it just gets you thinking about your profile.
Love that, love that, love that. And we will have a link to that in the show notes. So that's a really good, that is a really good offer, actually, to let people sort of like see a video. And I think, because sometimes I think when people sort of like offer a free 15 minutes, that's quite challenging, I think, to sort of actually do that. But to actually see a video would be really good, actually.
We've got this thing of reciprocity, Dawn.
Yes.
And if I'm gonna, you know, take 15 minutes of your time, you're probably going to sell to me.
Yeah.
And I don't really want to be sold to. I just want to know, is my banner look all right, or have I written the right thing in my about section? So I thought about it, and I thought, well, how can I give this to somebody and make it easy for me and easy for them? So literally it takes me 5 minutes just to quickly skirt around the profile and point out some things. Obviously in there, I'm going to say, and we do this on the workshop.
Yes.
And so that's fine. But what they also get, Dawn, is they get 5 minutes of me. So that's when they make up their decision. Do they want to work with this bouncy idiot, or do they want to just let him go?
I like it. I like it. And I think your sales experience shines through, actually, because I think that's some of the things that I think are challenging about LinkedIn. And I know that you don't recommend it, sort of like, so you think people request to contact with you, and they haven't sort of made any effort to sort of saying why they're contacting with you and why they're interested with you. And then I personally think, so we have networking in common. So I love networking, and I find LinkedIn really good to network on there. And I'm thinking, should I contact with this person? Because I like to contact with everybody, but then I'm thinking, are they going to try and sell me something? And then I literally think, how am I going to say no politely? You know, and you know, I don't want to, that's my British politeness. I think, oh God, no, so this is going to start a whole thing, you know what I mean, about, you know, I can help you with your SEO, I can do this, I can do that. And I think that's what people get nervous about, sort of like how to manage those sort of situations. And I think with your video, you've actually sort of said it sort of way that you can do. So how can you help, you know, with no kickback, but you are going to say that you've got a workshop, and, you know, and people can take it or leave it. And I think, I know I have said this to other coaches, you know, so you go on courses and things. I don't work with anybody that I don't know, I haven't got a relationship with. I
Absolutely.
just will not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I will never say to a DM, oh yeah, I definitely want some help with my SEO, you know, let's book a meeting, I'll pay you. No, never. I've never done that. It's always been because I've either gone to a webinar, or there's some kind of relationship, or somebody's referred and we've had a chat or something like that. And I think that's one of the things I like about, you know, how you teach about LinkedIn, is about, you know, how to create that relationship, which I'm really into. Because, and also, you know, I find, and I think you do too, that something might not happen straight away, but something will happen 6 months down the line, or a year down the line, or 5 years down the line, because that's just the way it works, baby. You know, that's been my experience. Has that been your experience, Ashley?
No, absolutely. You say I've got this sales experience.
Yeah.
I've never sold anything.
Yes.
People have actually bought from me because they like what I've got to sell. They like what I've explained to them. When I left an old job, I was there for 8 years. The guy that took over my patch absolutely knocked it out the park after I'd gone, because all these people were still coming back, because I'd put all that work in. So if I'd have gone and worked for a competitor, I'd have still got all of that business, because people have come to me, not the product. Because you know this, people buy from people who they know, who they like, and who they trust. And the whole idea of doing stuff on LinkedIn is to build up that know, like, and trust.
Absolutely.
And that, if you stop and think about the last time you purchased something, you didn't go to the place to buy whatever it was because it's a nice place. You went there because Dawn worked there and she's lovely.
Yes.
You went
Oh,
there
thank you for
because
that.
Ashley was there and he's funny.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why do you go to your favorite restaurant? The food's not brilliant, but the waiter there is hilarious, or the manager's a scream, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it could be you go somewhere, I go and have my nails done at this place because I love chatting to Sally and she really cares about me, and it's all those sorts of things. And it's all know, like, and trust. And that's what we're doing on LinkedIn, is actually letting people see the real us.
Absolutely. Love that. Love that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about you now. So you are writing a book. So we have that in common as well, that, I wrote a book and you are writing a book. Tell me a bit about that.
Right. Okay. So I've been listening to lots of people saying you've got to write a book, you've got to write a book, and it's there's another book in me that I will write one day. That'll be, I don't know whether it's going to be fiction or whether it's just going to be true life. But this one is a business book. It's all about LinkedIn, and it's all about content for LinkedIn. And because I've been doing my Monday Nudge for over a year or 18 months now. There's an awful lot of back content there. And so what I did is I grabbed hold of every single email that I'd written, pulled out every single bit of content that I'd written, and put it all into a long, great big spreadsheet, and then went through that and picked it all out. And I've now got 101 different ideas for you to create content. So the whole idea of this book is you come into work in the morning, all right, I'm going to write some content. And you go, I can't think of anything. So you open up my book and you, I'll do that one. And you can pick that content. And so for example, this week, one of my ideas was the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to write about someone running down a track. What you might write, and so I'll give you some ideas about that topic. So if you were going to write about the Commonwealth Games, you could talk about all the practice that you have to put in, the 10,000 hours that you have to put in, maybe you need the right equipment to do a really good job. Maybe you need the right footwear. Maybe you need to eat the right stuff, have the right well-being and things like that. So there's loads of different things that you can write about just one topic. And what you can do is you can weave it into things that you do. We got a silver medal in this. We should have got gold. When was the time that you think you should have won, but you still did so well? And then that just made me think of Sue Boyle. Okay, she did not win Britain's Got Talent. She did not win Britain's Got Talent. I think it was Diversity that won that year. Yeah, I can't remember.
It was Diversity. She was third.
She did not win, but she absolutely went on and knocked it out of the park. And so it's those sorts of things that you can write about the Commonwealth Games without even writing about the Commonwealth Games. And you can weave that into what you do as a business. You can weave that into your personal life and stuff like that. And so my book will have 101 ideas. And also what I've done is I've put a little chart in after each idea, so you can monitor how it goes. And then you can use that content again in the future and change it around, because you knew when you last used that bit of content.
Loving your work, Ashley. That's a good idea. Loving that. So when's that going to be ready?
Oh my goodness, you know what it's like when you write a book.
I do know what it's like.
Someone turns around and goes, don't like that bit, so you've got to start again, and goodness knows what else. So look, it's going to be out in time for Christmas.
Fabulous.
If I can get it out quicker, I'd really love that. And I want to make it pocket money price.
Yeah.
I want to see more people creating content. There's 1% of users on LinkedIn create content. The rest are just scrolling.
Yeah. And I love that you share that, actually, because it means, and I think this about writing a book and, doing any kind of live stuff, having a podcast, whatever you're doing, you're an outlier, you're special, and own it, love it. You're doing stuff. Do you know what I mean? And because most people don't, most people just consume, don't they?
I wish I could do that. Well, you can.
Well, they can, and
absolutely
I love that. Yeah,
can.
and I'm a great believer in that. And it's not that you are special. It's just that we'll just do a little bit more than the average person, and that can make the difference, can it, between success and and or living an extraordinary life and living an okay life, and it's fine. Do you know what I mean? But extraordinary is just a little bit more. So I love that as well. So, and also I also talk to all my guests about their own health and well-being. Now, Ashley, you are such a bouncy, happy, positive guy. How do you stay focused and positive and productive all the time? Do you ever have down days? Is this it? It's 24/7?
We all have down days. One of the lines in my song is I wake up every morning and I bounce around the bed. Okay. And literally, as I'm playing it, I've got time between that and the next line. I go, and that's true. And whenever my wife is watching me, she always does that, because I am like that. But I do have grumpy days. We all have grumpy days where things don't go quite right. What I do is I always think about other people that aren't as well off as myself. And when I say aren't as well off, I don't have a flash car or a flash house or anything, but I do have a house. I do have Wi-Fi. I've got electric. I know where the food is and stuff like that. So I am blessed. I also have got good health. And there's people that really do suffer. I love all these positivity stories of people with no legs climbing Everest and stuff like that. Because you just sort of like think, well, actually, if they can do it, then why am I moaning? And I think a lot of people look up to see the people that are doing better than them, rather than looking down to see people that aren't doing so well. And so I take comfort. I was making my cup of tea earlier this morning. Okay. And I'm thinking, I'm so lucky.
You are.
Yeah. But we look at the cup of tea and we think, oh, why is the bloody kettle not boiling so quickly? I just, it just so happened. And it's like, no, I've got a kettle.
Absolutely.
And it gives me hot water. And I've just had a little chat with my daughter, and there's something going on with a family member. And I said, just let it go. She said, but Dad, I don't want to let it go. I said, well, you've got to. Because do you want to be right, or do you want to be happy?
Yeah. Good advice. Good advice. I don't know how old your daughter is, but I've done a similar thing with my son. I'm like, so I've said, what's the best thing for you? And, in 5 years' time, will you regret not doing it? And that is the decision that you need to make. And it's okay, whatever you decide is okay.
Yeah.
But you just need to go through that process and think, is this an opportunity that might not be available in 5 years' time? Can I afford not to take it? And if I don't take it, I do that in full confidence of that was an informed decision, and that's okay. And being okay is okay, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
You don't have to be fantastically happy every day, and being okay is fine. That's really good, and that's better than some people, as you said, definitely. Now, I know that you've got a health regime that makes me wince. Talk us about that.
Oh, right. Okay. When we get to a certain age, Dawn, and it's not our age, it's 30 or less, right? I promise you this.
That's worrying.
Our muscles start wasting away.
They do.
And this is why you see old people shuffling around. This is why you see old people not being able to get up from chairs. This is why you see old people having those walking frames, because they're not using their muscles. And I was speaking to a guy who was on one of my shows. He was so good on one of my shows that I asked him back, and we did a special show. So he came on for 15 minutes and started talking about all this stuff. And then he came on, we did a whole hour. He's called Dave Stickland. He's that fit old guy. The guy's 60. He's ripped. He is ripped. Okay. He sent me a video on how to do something, and I showed my wife. She said, you have to show me again. I didn't get that. I didn't get it either. But anyway, she wanted to see him do his thing a few times because he is ripped, and he's 60. Okay. And basically he started 4 years ago, and he's really into CrossFit, and he looks the business. And he said, you need to get down the gym. And I don't know about you, but whenever you go to the gym, there's lots of fit young things. They all look absolutely superb. They go on these machines. They know exactly what they're doing. And wimpy guy walks in with his beer belly And you're like, what am I going to do here? I don't know what to do. You feel intimidated and you never go back. And I said, look, how do I fit it in? He said, all you need to do, you stop your walking. Because I said earlier, I do 15,000 steps a day. You don't need to do so many steps because all you're doing is using your leg muscles. You're not using any of your other muscles. And so basically, if you do sit-ups, if you do squats, and if you do press-ups, that is using all of your muscle groups. Okay. So therefore, if I do that, I'm not going to need a walking frame, and I'll be able to get up and down off sofas. I'll be able to throw my grandson around, and I'll be able to enjoy my later life. So I made a commitment that I was going to do what he suggested. Now, this is the thing. He says I should do 150 sit-ups, 150 squats, and 150 press-ups every single day.
Okay.
When I started this, which is a long time ago now, I couldn't even do one press-up, Dawn. Okay.
I hear you.
So what I did is I did 10. And then the next day I did 11. And then the next day I did 12. And then the next day I did 13. And people would sort of like, what are you doing this for? And I'd explain. And they go, so do you do like 15 in one go? I said, no, I have a break after every single one.
Loving you out.
But so now I do, so I do 10 of each, then 20 of each, then 30 of each, then 40 of each, and then 50 of each. Okay.
That's cool.
And you get to 20, you think, oh, I can do this. You get to 30, you think, oh, I want to die. And then you get to 50 of each one. And what I do is I write it down every day. You can see that on my chart.
So
and
when you listening, Ashley is holding up a chart which is full of numbers. I had a discussion with him earlier about what this means, and we're not sure, but we think it's positive.
It's definitely positive, because the thing is, Dawn, look, you've been on my workworkshop, and I tell you to measure all your views.
You do.
What you record, you can measure.
True.
Okay. True. And if I didn't write this down, all right. So today I've written down the 1st of August, and I've got my chart there. If I didn't do that today, I might not do it tomorrow. And before you know it, I won't be doing my 150 reps everything, and I'll be using a walking frame when I'm older. So that's why I measure it. But once you've done the 50, I am buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing, aching, a little bit perspiring, a little bit out of breath. But it means that I can go and enjoy the day. And if I want a biscuit with my coffee, I don't mind. I'll have one.
Loving your work. That is really inspiring story. And I love it. And you're probably going to inspire me to even go back to the gym at all, because I haven't been for a while. Definitely. I think that doing something every day definitely is the key.
It gets us into a habit. We've got to have a habit. You know, you brushed your teeth this morning and all those sorts of things. And that's what we've got to do. So, you know, and that's why I do my 50 minutes a day, my daily habit, because we go onto LinkedIn and we think, oh, it's too much to do, and we don't do anything. But if you do 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn, just Monday to Friday, by the end of the year, you've done 65 hours of free marketing.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So I just had a coughing fit just then, and Ashley kindly carried on while I was coughing away there. Can you tell me about the book that you recommend as well? You've got a book, I ask my guests every.
Yes, absolutely. So I love listening to podcasts, and there's a lady called Elizabeth Day, and she does this amazing podcast where she talks to people about things. I can't even remember what the podcast is all about nowadays. But she had on this guest, and this guest, it's all about failure. It's all about failure. So she interviews people that have failed massively. Okay. And she's getting a lot of famous people on. They come on and talk about 3 failures. Mo Gaudat was one of her guests. It's episode 4. It's an amazing, amazing podcast that you really must listen to.
I will.
And that introduced me to Mo Gaudat. And Mo Gaudat has written a book called Solve for Happy. He's a big figure from Google, and he was involved in all kinds of things at Google, and so he can engineer anything. And so he engineered the equation for happiness. But his book explains it in great detail. The podcast from Elizabeth Day, How to Fail, is a great introduction, but the book is genius. That podcast changed my life.
Oh, wow.
because of the way he talks and what has happened. And this is a guy that is so rich that one day he bought 2 Rolls Royces online. Yeah. And you know, we all sort of like think, oh, would it be nice to have that much money? The guy was still not happy.
Oh,
The guy was still not happy. And I am happier than Mo Gaudat was when he bought those Rolls Royces.
yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. And the way he explains it all in the book just really makes you think about what you've got and how grateful you should be for everything that you've got.
I
So
love
yeah,
that.
it's a fantastic book.
I'm going to both find the podcast and also buy the book. That sounds amazing. And thank you for that. Ashley, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. It's been positive, it's been productive. I've learned a lot, and we've talked about LinkedIn, which is, I know, that something that I know my clients really want to know a lot about and that you help people with. Thank you so much for being on the show. What I ask my guests to do is there one actionable tip or takeaway that our listeners or viewers can take away today?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just go on LinkedIn. But the first thing you should do is make sure your photo is optimized. Okay. So that's smiling, looking at the camera, a current photo with a nice color around the back of you and filling that screen.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ashley. And that's it for the Dawn Jarvis show today. It's been a good one today. If you like what you've heard, like, subscribe, give a comment underneath. We'd really love to hear what you're going to say. And we'll be back soon. Take care. Bye-bye.